We are choosing to vaccinate our little flock for the first time this year. And we have actually not had any issues due to not vaccinating. And we generally choose to have as little intervention as possible. We also don't want to sacrifice the health of our flock. So this year we are planning to creep feed the 2026 lambs, and that's why we're choosing to vaccinate. The most effective way is to vaccinate the ewes so that they can pass on the colostrum, pass on the antibodies in the milk. So we'll talk about that later. It's really easy to use. You can buy it over the counter. You shake it real well, keep it cold. You pull up 2 mils and you inject it subcutaneously. So you just pinch up some skin, usually around the neck or like in the armpit or kind of in the creases of the skin. If you have wool sheep, it can get a little bit hard to find some skin. So the vaccine, what does it do? It targets Clostridial diseases. Clostridial diseases are caused by Clostridium bacteria. Clostridium bacteria is a bunch of different types, are found in the soil, they're found in the guts of healthy animals, they're found everywhere. You can't get rid of them. Issues arise when there is an imbalance and something allows the Clostridium bacteria to overgrow, and it will cause death. Like, there's no cure at that point. Now we have tetanus. Tetanus, the main concern is around docking and banding, where we're making this wound that is like a slow healing wound that's open for a long period of time. We've docked and we've banded without vaccinating. We've never had any issues. Other people have not had any issues, and other people have had issues. So it's just kind of like take it as it is, and you risk mitigate for your flock. Now, what we're concerned about is overeating disease, because we'll be introducing creep feed to the lambs, and eating can cause an imbalance in the gut, right? Any input to the gut can cause an imbalance. It can cause a change in the gut microbiome. Usually we provide probiotics and things like that to help encourage good bacteria growth, but things like stressors, just bad genetics, changing up the feed too fast, even lush pasture, right? It's not only a grain issue. Even extremely lush pasture too fast, too soon, too much can cause that imbalance and can cause overeating disease. So it's important to, even if you're vaccinating, to take other measures as well, to introduce feed slowly, to do things that are to feed lambs things that are developmentally appropriate for their age. Make sure that everyone's healthy. Make sure that your environment is clean, especially if you're in confinement, right? So that's that. And as far as the timeline, it's pretty simple if you have everyone's vaccinated, everyone's on the same schedule. So if you have previously vaccinated ewe that's given birth, you just give a pre-lambing dose about 2 to 3 weeks before lambing. If you have unvaccinated ewes or ewes with unknown history or first-time lambers, you also give that pre-lambing dose 2 to 3 weeks before lambing, 2 to 4 weeks. But you also want to give another dose before that. Generally, it's given 4 to 6 weeks before that pre-lambing dose. But really, so long as they get one within like the year, it's fine. The idea is that like they're exposed to the vaccine, their body is familiar with it, and so that second dose will really amp up those antibodies so that it can be transferred to the lambs and milk. You don't want to give it too soon before birthing, because then the antibodies won't have the time to accumulate properly in the milk. So you really want to make sure that those antibody concentrations peak when the lambs are born, and then they gain immunity through that milk, because prior to like 2-3 weeks, they don't have their own immune system. And then the lambs get a booster about 4 to 8 weeks later. And people like to line this up with docking and banding because, again, of tetanus. But 4 weeks is already kind of pushing it for banding, depending on the size of your sheep. So just take that into consideration. And then a lot of people do another booster 3 to 4 weeks after that. Honestly, we're not sure if we're going to do that last booster. It just kind of depends if we're still creep feeding. And so we'll just see what that is. And all this to say, like, this is the schedule. This is what market people do, market farmers do. And honestly, I'm not sure if vaccinating is considered organic or not. People who are grass-fed still do it. Just because you're not feeding grain doesn't mean you don't have to do it. Just because you're feeding grain doesn't mean you have to do it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're taking the risk for your flock, just like we took a risk for our flock. And we're just gonna make the best decision for us. I'm not here to convince you one way or another. Like, this is for your information only. That being said, we try to be as holistic as possible, but we are not against using antibiotics. We are not against grain feeding. We are not against using dewormers and things like that when needed. We know and understand that it takes time to build a flock the way you want. So we are working on weeding out animals that rely on, for example, commercial dewormers and things like that. So it's not just something you can do overnight. And as far as this vaccine, honestly, I'm more comfortable with it because of how long it's been on the market, how widely used it is. There's like no side, like the risk of a side effect is like so minuscule, and it's just a decision that we're making specifically because we're creep feeding. And we're creep feeding because we have had issues with coccidiosis, not so much deaths thankfully, but stunted growth for sure. And so we want to creep feed, a medicated feed, and kind of see what that does to our flock until we have the time to be able to genetically select for not needing to do that. So again, this is all about time and resources and what we can do right now for that's best for our flock and for our operation and for our goals in the future.
Well done.
So I hope that was helpful. Don't let anyone tell you what you need to do or what you don't need to do, or like tell you that you're stupid for not vaccinating or whatever the case may be. Just do what you believe is best for your flock and your family and your life. Hope that helps. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks.